Oh, I like the shirt. The shirt
Thank
is
you.
nice. It's nice.
Thank you.
Real nice. You want that made?
Yes, sure did.
That's really good.
Thank you.
You want to see that?
No, I don't think she did. I'm ready when you are.
The views expressed on this program are not those of intellectualradio.com, its subsidiaries, or sponsors. Encouraging, educating, and empowering you into action. This is Warriors Talk with your host, Lady ReShell.
Hello, hello. This is Lady ReShell, author and founder of Warriors Talk, where we move away from awareness towards action. This is Health and Wellness Monday, and we are live on Intellectual Radio. We just heard from Roman with the Drive at 5. Keep it locked right here on Intellectual Radio and allow us to feed your brain. Our healing quote of the day is, health is like money. We never have a true idea of the value until we lose it. So I'm excited about today's show. We're going to be talking about boosting your immune system during stressful times. And I have with me none other than my healthy solutions expert, Doc Michelle. She has been seeing patients for over the last 20 years. So what's going on, Doc Michelle?
Hello, hello. How are you?
Are coming through loud and clear. I love it.
Awesome, great. Yeah, I'm doing well, taking it one day at a time and staying healthy and trying to boost my immune system so I don't get sick.
Awesome. I just thought this was a great subject. Of course, it was your idea, being a doctor and all, and you already know what we need, especially at this time during a pandemic. But this information that we're going to give out today is not only for COVID, but it's to throughout your lifetime, you can use this information on how to boost your immune system.
Yes,
So
yes.
I really just want to start from the beginning, just defining what exactly is your immune system.
Right. So your immune system is your body's defense mechanism against illness, infection, inflammation, right? And we think about where does that the immune system and the immune fighters come from? Well, it comes from in the bloodstream, our white blood cells that help to fight infection. It comes from our bone marrow, where we start to build those cells that then get released into the bloodstream to help fight these toxins and these viruses and pathogens and bacteria that come to us. Our muscles, all of that put together, our lymph nodes, right? When we get sick, we get those swollen glands. That's because they're working overtime to help fight infection, because that's part of the immune system as well. So the immune system is sort of throughout the whole body sort of working together to help us stay healthy. And one of the major and first barriers when we think about what prevents us from getting sick is the skin. The skin is the largest organ in the body, on the body, and it's the first barrier to infection. So even keeping, your outer core healthy, as well as the inner core, is important to help, keep us healthy in the long term. We all want to have a good quality of life, and that really comes from how do we feel? Are we able to do the things that we enjoy doing, or are we feeling sickly, fatigued, tired, battling illness, feel like we always are sick or getting infections? And I thought about this topic because even though we're in the time of COVID and trying to stay infection free, this is an important topic, as you mentioned at the top of the show, for any time, right? We want to prevent pneumonias and colds and flus, which will be here before we know it. And one of the simplest ways we think of protecting ourselves from infection, which we've heard about so much over the last few months, is really washing our hands, right? Because our hands, again, is the way that things can get into our system through the skin. Plus, when we have those things on our hands, we then touch the orifices where things can get into, right? You touch your nose, you might be putting food in your mouth, and that is how those viruses get from one person to another, in addition to, right, when it is expressed through your nostrils or through your mouth. But touching things where viruses may be, and then touching other people or touching yourself where they can get into the system, is one way we get infections. And so when those things come into us, be it the coronavirus, be it the flu virus, be it a pneumonia, bacterial pneumonia, we want our bodies to be ready and armed to fight it, right? For the last few months, I've been talking to people about, we all want to not get COVID. So let's say if you get exposed to it, you want your body ready, willing, and able to fight, right? Because that's what it's about. Some people do really well, some don't. But you have to be ready, armed, and your body has to be healthy. And part of that is, how do you keep your immune system healthy in this stressful time? We know that stress in itself can lower your immune system, and we've been going through that a lot, right? Stress, we hear about the stress hormone called cortisol. So even low levels of stress, we think we're handling it, but maybe we're not really. Or high levels of something just happened that's been catastrophic, or this kind of, over the last few months, trying to live in the midst of a pandemic is stressful. And those things can increase your cortisol level, which can then decrease your body's ability to fight infections. In addition to high cortisol level, then causes weight gain. It makes it easier to gain weight. So that's not a great hormone to have, just for sort of floating around in your system at the wrong level. We should have that at a stable level. But when we're stressed, cortisol goes up, increases your ability to gain weight, decreases your immune system. And then we know in this time of the pandemic that because we're not exercising much, many of us, and maybe eating the wrong foods, that alone makes us gain weight. And then we put this high cortisol level on top of it, which makes it even more likely to gain weight. So living in the stressful time like this, it's important to kind of stop, step back, evaluate, do I feel stressed? Do I feel anxious? Have I taken a moment to do certain things, like meditation helps? Taking a moment to just sort of take 5 minutes to concentrate on your breathing, remove the stresses, close your eyes. Those things, studies show, help even in a minute to 5 minutes of just stopping the stress and the thoughts can help lower blood pressure and lower your stress level and your anxiety level as well. So there are things that we can do. We don't have to feel sort of overwhelmed with it all. The things that we have in our control. Now we'll get to foods, but even just the simple things, like I said, meditation, sleeping. We don't think about the value of sleep. There's so much going in all 24/7. We're on a news cycle. We're hearing about things that cause us stress. And so does that affect your ability to get restful sleep? Because again, the lack of sleep, we should be getting 7 to 8 hours. I don't know how many people get that on a consistent basis, but the lack of sleep, again, increases your cortisol level and also causes you to not get into the REM sleep, which is the restorative sleep, so that you feel the effects of that, the next day. And when we're stressed, we talk about serotonin and melatonin. Those levels get out of balance when we're stressed and not sleeping. And so
can I just catch up on my sleep though?
you can,
they can catch up on sleep.
Right. Well, you have to catch up on a consistent basis, right? You can't sleep 3 hours one night and then 4 the next night and think if I sleep 12 hours the next night I'm good. No, it's the consistency over time that's going to help to lower those stress hormones and give us that restorative stress relieving rest that our body needs. And it has to be consistent. And I know it's hard, right? We have so many responsibilities that we're taking care of that it's hard to get that restful sleep. People nowadays don't dream as much as they used to, because you dream when you're in your REM sleep. And if you don't get to the REM restful sleep, you don't get the deep, vivid dreams as you once did. And how many of us wake up feeling tired, right? You went to sleep and you thought you rested for 7 hours, but you wake up and you feel like you need another hour. And a lot of that is because we don't get into the deep, restful sleep for the underlying thoughts and things that flood into our subconscious while we're asleep. I take a sleep strip through a company called ID Life, which I am affiliated with, and that has serotonin derivatives, and it really helps me to get to sleep so much better, because there's so many things that can flood into, like I said, into the subconscious, and I wake up feeling so much more rested and able to tackle everything I have to do for the day.
Because you don't get into the deep sleep until you get like a couple of hours into sleep. And
right.
And if you only get those 3 or 4 hours and you wake up, it's like, okay, you missed it. You missed
You didn't get it.
And have you ever noticed how sometimes you wake people up in their dream and they're like, why did you wake me up? I was having this really good dream. It's because
right.
you get to that sleep, that deep sleep. I know I'm a person that really don't get enough rest. I really don't. And normally when I lay down when I'm ready to go to sleep. I don't just lay down and then just think and my mind is racing. As soon as I lay down, I'm out. Like I don't really sit there and just I'm really just out.
Right. And they say that if you can fall asleep so quickly within 5 minutes of laying down, you're probably sleep deprived, right? Most people, it takes you a minute to sort of get into that mode, right? Some of us can do it just like that. Things that help you fall asleep are the white noise, right? So if you have your phone by your bed, put it on an app where you can hear the waves, you can hear the raindrops.
Yes, that's
you
exactly
do that.
True. And I normally put it for a specific time so that I know I don't even get past maybe the first 5 minutes and I'm out of there. But I also heard going to sleep at the same time every night is supposed to be good for you as well. That, like you said, that consistency.
It's about the consistency. Right? And again, difficult to do, but try to get on a schedule where you're going to bed about the same time and waking up about the same time. So your body has sort of a routine that subconsciously helps to create that stability for your body. And so there's not that stress. Because when you jump up out of bed and, I gotta go, I'm late, right? You get a rush of adrenaline, right? You feel it. And that also can increase the cortisol. Plus, that increase in adrenaline in such a way can cause fluctuations in your blood pressure. So again, it's so important, folks are listening out there and that's you, that, oh boy, I can get away with 3 or 4 hours because I'm able to function. And then I take caffeine or whatever energy drink all day, which may not be helpful for you. We can talk about those on another day. But yes, we can manage, and sleep tends to be one of the first things to go, right? Because I have so much to do. I can get by on 4 hours. But when we're talking about helping your immune system, especially in this time where we are being bombarded with lots of different things, it is important to try to carve that out. And it's hard to go from 4 hours to 7 to 8 hours, right? So if you're not used to that, so start small. Start from going from 4 hours to 5 hours, and you do that for about a week, and then you can get to 6 hours. And so you have to now train your body the other way to be able to want that rest and try not to take naps during the day if you don't have to, although naps are restorative and can be a stress reliever, but we still want you to get those 7 to 8 hours at night.
Yes,
I'm a firm believer in naps.
I am too. I take my naps, and somebody said the reason why you can sleep those 5 to 6 hours is because you're napping during the day, but it's not the same. It's not the same, I think, as getting that sleep at night.
Right. Yes, because remember, a nap, you're really not getting REM sleep. You're resting your body, right? And a 20 to 30-minute nap is fine because your body does get restored from that, but you're right. You're not getting sleep where you're getting into REM sleep and getting the restorative sleep that you would get overnight.
Awesome. If you are just tuning in, this is Warriors Talk. We are live on Intellectual Radio, and we're talking to Doc Michelle about some of the ways that you can boost your immune system during this stressful time. Now, Doc Michelle, it's not too late to start boosting your immune system. We can be proactive right now. Starting with wherever you're at, you can start to boost your immune system. And how long does it take for you to actually feel the effects of, the changes that you're making?
Yeah. So it's not instantaneous, right? Because sometimes people think, okay, if I eat 4 oranges today and get my vitamin C, I'm good, right? But it is consistent. It's consistency over, days to months and a lifestyle, right? It's not a short-term thing. So we can talk about sometimes you may not feel the difference right away. I know one thing that we can talk about is vitamin D. So vitamin D deficiency can not only cause sometimes bony aches, but it can decrease your immune system, cause you to feel fatigued. So a lot of people, when they start taking vitamin D, they can feel a difference after just a few doses, right? That's what patients tell me. But you have to continue it to get a stable level. As far as vitamin D goes, because it is important for our immune system, it's important to get your level checked, right? So you don't want to just take vitamin D if you don't know that you're deficient in vitamin D. A lot of African Americans are vitamin D deficient because the melanin in our skin, we don't absorb it as effectively from the sun, as well as we may not drink a lot of milk where you get vitamin D because of lactose intolerance. And so for a multitude of reasons, we tend to be low. I checked my level years ago, actually, and I think it was 6, and a normal level is around 50 or greater. And so I, began to take vitamin D on a consistent basis and can tell the difference. I've given it to patients who have been low in their levels, and they'll come back for the next visit and tell me what a difference it's made for not only the bony aches, right? That's what you can feel right away, right? The fatigue, the bony aches, you won't feel the difference in your immune system, but it's important as well.
Does it mean that because we have the melanated skin, that we have to stay out in the sun just a little bit longer in order to get that vitamin D to penetrate through our melanin skin?
Right. So it's that's a difficult one, right? Because the too much sun, right, is going to lead to melanoma and cancer issues. And so, yes, we would need longer exposure to absorb the vitamin D, but there's risk to longer exposure to the sun, right? And so again, that's why you certainly can get vitamin D from your fruits and vegetables. But for those people who are still, eating fruits and vegetables, they may be low. And that we see it a lot in our community. And that's when you may need to take a prescription or have your doctor recommend the over-the-counter supplement for you.
I wanted to go back really quickly to the stress when you were talking about stress. We know that stress plays your immune system. When you're stressed, it plays a big role, a major role. And I could just remember talking to a lot of women who were diagnosed with cancer, them having a stressful event or time right before they were diagnosed. And then they end up being diagnosed, and they were healthy before that stressful time came. So, we have to be able to find a way, like you said, to release that stress, whether it be through exercise, whether it be through meditation, or whether it just be through saying no to people and cutting folks off, because being stressed does lead to disease, and we know it leads to disease.
Right. So true, because The stress also can cause inflammation, which a lot of disease processes are linked to, right? As well as cancer. Diabetes is a state of inflammation in the pancreas and in the body, and even arthritis and obesity. All those things are linked to stress and higher cortisol levels, and inflammation in the body. And that's when we talk a lot, Lady ReShell, it always comes down to your lifestyle, right? What do we do? How are we living our lives? How are we eating? How are we active? And all of these things that we can control to prevent infection and illness. But even we talk about secondary prevention. So after you unfortunately are diagnosed with diabetes or cancer, how do you now help yourself, right? Not get the complications or furthering your disease process or helping your body to heal through all the things we talk about, right? Food is medicine, sleep, exercise, not smoking, not drinking alcohol, all the things that we push and preach, for years and years. The more that we study and we look at the links and what causes what, we see that a lot of it is related to lifestyle. I tell patients all the time, it's easy for me. I can write you a script. I can write your prescription all day, but that's not what I want to do. I want you to understand what control you have in this process, right? Even if you've had diabetes or obesity, which all have underlying inflammation, right? What can you do now to help boost your immune system, decrease the inflammation in your body? It comes from what we eat. There's so many books that are written about food is medicine and the things that we eat. And I tell patients all the time, the color of your plate, the food on your plate is important, right? The colorful foods are the ones that have the immune boosting vitamins and minerals and the antioxidants that get rid of the free radicals and the pollutants in our bodies, right? And so when you look at your plate, it should be colorful. And you think about that's fruits and vegetables. You should have red, yellow, green, orange stuff on your plate. And if you don't, it's not a healthy plate. If you think about, I always just give the example, a burger and fries. A burger and fries is beige, the bread is beige, the meat is brown, it's all beige. The ketchup, we're not gonna count that, okay? So you have to add some color to your plate, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and your snacks, right? Your fruits, your cantaloupes, your melons, whatever you like, and foods that you may not have eaten before, try them, right? I think I was reading something about seniors eating kiwi, that they seem to have less, infection and inflammation. I mean, it's just things that we can put in our bodies, and different fruits and vegetables that if you have not tried them, try them. We sometimes limit ourselves to what we have eaten as a kid and what we know. But I can't stress enough how important that piece is.
It's important. I think about it's important to take that control when you can. I mean, we have an opportunity to where we can be proactive with our health just by what we put in our mouth. And I know some people will say, oh, I don't have those different things in my area or whatever. Drive a little further to a different grocery store and get those colorful things that you need. And again, we're not expecting changes overnight. We know that this is a lifestyle that you're trying to, practice this throughout your lifestyle. So just incorporate little things at a time. 1 week it'll be you changing the food. The next week, okay, add exercise. The next week, okay, start sleeping a little longer. Just, then the next week after that, you deal with stress. Like take it, like a pie,
Yes.
Slice it up and you deal with it, one slice at a time to where you're managing your whole life is balanced.
That's right.
Because when
That's
something
right.
is unbalanced, your body, you're going to feel it. You're going to feel that imbalance in your body.
Yeah, because sometimes it can feel overwhelming, right? Because you have so much to do, and my doctor's telling me I need to do all these things, and I need to eat right, and I need to sleep, and I need to exercise, and it can get overwhelming. And I will tell patients all the time, let's start with one thing. What do you think you can start this week? Right? Because I can tell you to do A, B, C, D. It doesn't matter if you can't do it. Okay. So what do you think? And for those of you who are going to listen to this, right, think about what you want to change and just say one thing. If it's, I want to eat, some colorful fruit or vegetables this week, or I'm going to eat, a salad with my lunch, or something that you can do to start making the changes. And there, when you go to the grocery store, you mentioned, unfortunately, that in our community, sometimes we can't get all the things that we really do need to keep ourselves healthy. We talk about this, what we call the social determinants of health, right? It's not what the prescription I write for you in the office that makes a difference in your health. It's all the social things. It's, can you get the right foods? Can you get to the grocery store? All of that matters. But when you are able to do your shopping, right, add some of these healthier things to your list. The vitamin C foods, oranges. People think I'm going to drink orange juice. Don't get the juice, get the actual orange. I tell people all the time, the juice is great, lots of sugar, okay? Better to get the actual fruit, okay? Because even with apples, you get the fiber from the skin, plus you get the other nutrients that come in the apple. So oranges, broccoli, kiwi, cantaloupe, great ways to get your vitamin C. Garlic has lots of benefits. Garlic has been shown to help with boosting your immune system. If you're using garlic, better to use it pretty much raw, or I tell people if you're cooking with it, to make it the last thing you add to the dish, because you really don't want to cook away the nutrients. They talk about chewing on a half of garlic. Our grandmas and granddads probably did that all the time. Yeah, chew on the raw garlic. Best way to get it, but it can make you feel sort of nauseous. So some people can't stomach that. So I say cut it up and put it as the last thing on your meal, sprinkle it on your meal, or the last thing in your saute or whatever you're making, just so you don't cook all the good nutrients out of it as well. And then we talked about the antioxidants, which help your body to fight toxins and such. And antioxidants are in those colorful fruits and vegetables. If it's berries, blueberries and raspberries and carrots and spinach and kale, if you think about all the colors in those foods, that's what has those great things in it. So I try to simplify it for patients and say, just when you make your plate, it should have color. At least half of that plate should be really colorful with lots of good stuff on it. If it doesn't, it's not a good plate.
So, okay, so for someone who is, like we was talking before the show started, since I'm not eating meat right now and trying to get, all of these healthy nutrients through my food. I mean, number one, you got to do your research, and you got to research, what it is that you can eat to get those things so that you can, get everything that you need in your food. But I've heard that being vegan, that you can't get certain proteins that you can't get that animal fat gives you. So you have to do the supplements.
You have to supplement, right? You
do the supplements.
Yes. So you can get protein, right, in beans and other lentils and things like that. Sometimes you're not getting enough, especially if you're someone who exercises. You probably, as an exercising female, could use, depending on your weight, 70 grams to 80 grams of protein a day. Exercise, yes. If you want to build muscle, people don't think about it, right?
Yeah.
And it's hard to get that in a regular diet. So there is a place for supplementation of protein shakes and such. Because I'm a big proponent of eating healthy, making sure that most of your nutrients, all of your nutrients come from fresh foods. That's the simplest way to get it. If you're not able to do that, then you should supplement with a reputable vitamin supplement. There's so many things out there, but I, for years, probably the last 5 years, I've used vitamins and supplements in my protein shake that I'm drinking from a company called ID Life, and I'll put my my website there to where you can get more information. But it's a company that really makes high grade supplements, protein shakes without a lot of the processed things that go into foods, without extra sugar and things like that. And I've loved it. And like I said, I was taking their sleep strips as well, which has serotonin equivalent, and that has helped me to get such great sleep. When I don't use it, I'm like, oh, I'm so tired the next day. But yes, there is a place if you feel that you're not getting enough of a particular thing. Don't we have patients and friends who say, I hate vegetables, right? I just can't eat it. Still, you got to try. There's got to be one or two vegetables out there that you like, that you can put on your plate and make that plate colorful. But if not, we have a protein shake through ID Life that also has vegetables, six servings of vegetables in it. So, and it's quite tasty. That's what I'm drinking right now. So yes, important protein as well, because protein helps to build your muscles. It helps to keep your brain sharp. And all of those things, again, give us a good quality of life, allow our bodies to do what it needs to do, right? We have to give our body the tools. So when we're ready to work, when we want it to work for us, it's got everything it needs, right and ready and willing. It can call in the army of white blood cells to fight for you. You know, you can get everything ready so that when you're faced with a toxin, a virus, a bacteria, that you are ready and able to fight it off. I keep saying that when this pandemic started, when I started hearing about COVID in early spring, I said it is important that when you're exposed, that you're ready, that your body is ready to fight it, right? Because we don't know when and where that we may get exposed. We're more heightened and have a heightened awareness of it now. But again, that's any virus, that's any influenza. We're so concerned about this because I think shows ago we talked about the mortality rate of COVID, which last I saw globally is a little less than 4%. And when we think about influenza mortality, who dies from the flu, it's less than 1%. And when you compare that, we see why we were all concerned way back in March when there was just a few cases, because we could tell then the mortality rate for COVID versus the flu was, vastly different. And that it was important to be able to protect ourselves, starting with, washing your hands, wearing a mask, and staying away from others so that we don't spread that. But if you unfortunately are exposed to it, you just want you want your body to be ready to fight.
You want to be ready. You don't want to get to the war and then try to train everybody on what to do.
Right.
You want to be already ready before your body even goes to war.
Yes. And the importance of water in that is that we've talked about the importance of hydration. Hydration is important. One of the things that they give COVID patients when they get in the hospital is IV fluids, because when your body is hydrated, it also helps your immune system, because now the cells, the white blood cells, and all the tools that need to fight the infection can get to where it needs to go, right along. If you think of water moving along a hose, right? And hydration helps our bodies in that simple sort of physical way, right? Moving what needs to get where it needs to go, can move the lymph, which is in our lymph nodes and our glands, right? It can help move that out of there to get to where it needs to go to start fighting. And so hydration is key. We talk about, I try to get a gallon of water in a day. It's hard to do, but that's my goal. That's my goal. And you'll feel better. Your skin looks better. But on top of that, what you can't see is what it's doing for your internal system, which is helping to hydrate the organs and move things along in your system as it needs to, so things can get to where it needs to go when it's needed.
Yes, I was just talking to one of my daughters today. I always ask them, like, how much water did you drink today? And they tell me, I was like, you have to drink more, because if you don't, your organs are working harder because they don't have that lubricant that it needs to work. And when your organs are working harder, sooner or later, something's gonna happen. It's gonna get tired. It's gonna, it's gonna malfunction. So you need that water in your body. So, that was just one of my ways of trying to push them to drinking more water.
Yes.
Then I make sure that I have water that's accessible for them to drink in the house, so they don't have an excuse. Oh, I don't have nothing to drink. So no, water is right here. And it's the easiest thing that you could just, like you said, you take your bottle with you. You could take it wherever you go. You got it in your hand, and you'd be surprised how much you can drink if you're conscious about it. Or you could put an app on your phone, and the phone would tell you it's time to drink water.
Yes.
But
Yes.
You know it. You've been drunk the 8 glasses that you need.
Yes, I completely agree. And I talk about making the healthy choice the easy choice, right? So like you said, put the water out where you can see it. I talk about that with parents a lot, of children who they're trying to get to have healthier habits. So I'll say, well, instead, in the morning, instead of having the apples and the fruits that you buy and they're going to go bad because they're at the bottom of the fridge and they've got to go in the fridge, pull it out, get the thing, you take the bowl of fruits and you put it on the table in the kitchen in the morning, cleaned and ready to go. So when they come in, they can just grab it and go. It's easy, right? At the end of the day, what's left, put it back in the fridge so it doesn't spoil. Put the nice, cool pitcher of water on the counter with some cups right next to it even, right? Because you have to, it's not easy to start the habit. You got to make it. You have to plan it until it becomes a habit. And so we have to make it easy for it to become a habit. Like put the reminder on your phone, like carry your water bottle with you, like have it easily accessible to you. Same thing with just trying to eat healthy, right? It's not a habit yet till we plan, and then it becomes a habit, and it takes like 90 days to create a habit. So we have to just plan. I tell patients, if I don't think today about what I'm going to eat and do tomorrow, then I'm planning to fail. I have to have a plan of action. I have to say, okay, tomorrow, wow, it's a busy day, but I know if I'm going to be out at 3 and I haven't, if I don't keep a healthy snack with me, I'm going to go to the fast food place, then I have to plan that I'm going to keep an apple in my purse or whatever. So, because I know that already. And so we can't wing it. Anyone who's been successful at the healthy lifestyle will tell you it takes planning and it takes some work to do that. So start with, if you're listening out there, start with something small. All the things that we talked about, whether it's sleep, whether it's trying to eat the right foods, whether it's going to get your blood work done to see if you're vitamin D deficient, and all of that, just start with one thing.
And no plan is still a plan. So if you don't make a plan, it's still a plan.
That's a plan. That's a plan that's not going to work.
Right. So we're talking about boosting your immune system during stressful times on Intellectual Radio with Dr. Michelle. And I wanted to go back to ID Life because I know that that's important. First of all, tell us what ID Life stands for.
Right. ID Life stands for Individually Designed Life. It is a company that I've been sort of partnered with for the last, I think now 5 years, to provide high-grade researched vitamins and supplements for my patients and for people. And I came on with this company for a couple of reasons after I was introduced to it, because they have one thing that sort of sets them apart from other vitamin companies, which is this, what we call a HIPAA compliant. It's confidential health assessment. And the health assessment takes into account everything that you have going on with your life. What is your medical conditions? what medications do you take? What are you suffering with? What are your concerns? What's your family history? Where do you live? It puts all that into the assessment to then tell you what is it that you need to be taking, because there's so many vitamin companies, and if you go into the store, you don't know what to take. I've had so many patients who will bring me a bag of lots of supplements, right, that they thought they heard they should be taking. And we don't know if that's what you should be taking, especially because of what interactions it may have with your medications. So the great thing about this company is they ask you all your medications, you put that in, again, it's confidential. They run that against what vitamins and supplements that they would recommend for you, remove the ones that may be bad, keep the ones that are good, and then at the end of that, it'll tell you what supplements are best for you, for your concern, if you're fatigued, if you're overweight, if you have a family history of diabetes or whatever that may be, and gives us evidence-based results at the end that says, based on what you input into the assessment, these are the things that we recommend for you. And that was really what sort of sold me on this company, because it's hard because there's so many vitamin and nutraceutical companies out there. And it's impossible as a physician to really know everything we need to know about every nutraceutical vitamin out there and whether it interacts with your medications. We have books. I look at it in my book all the time, my peripheral brain, to see what may interact. But the great thing about this assessment is it puts that work in for you. It's got like over 9,000 evidence-based studies that they utilize to sort of determine what's best for you. And that's the company I've used for the last 5 years, I believe it's been. That's where I get my vitamins, my vitamin D, my supplements, my protein shake, because I don't always get enough protein because I try to exercise. And as I said, you need a lot of protein when you're exercising, and sometimes it's hard to get that. And you took your assessment, Lady ReShell?
My assessment, and I scored an 85 on the assessment. And as I was going through the supplements, they were exactly what I needed. Like some of the things that I know that I was lacking, I saw them in, as one of they have different packs. You have a morning pack and you have an evening pack. And then they have like your core vitamins that you should take. They have the optimal, and then they have the premium vitamins that you should take. So the core vitamins are the ones that, they recommend right now. And the other ones, if you want to add them on, you can add them on. They would be beneficial for you. So I did, when I looked at it, I was like, wow, these are all things that I really need. Like, I don't take anything right now. When I went through, that cancer journey, I was like, I don't want to take any medicine. So I don't take anything. Like, I don't, headaches, I don't take no medicine at all. So just looking at, when I looked at it, and then it gives you the reason why you should take it. So it didn't just say, okay, just take this, but it gave you a reason why you should take this specific vitamin, why you need the vitamin and what it's known to do. So I was like, okay.
Yes.
So, just looking at all of the things that it was telling me that I needed. I don't know why people call me. I've been doing this for 5 years around the same time. And
they need to talk to you now.
Why people call me at this time. So you have to forgive them for calling me at this time.
Yes.
So just looking at, so it gave me, for the morning, it gave me the advanced AM, which is the multivitamin, which I don't take a multivitamin. And the reason why I don't is because I used to take them, and I read somewhere that those vitamins sit in your system and they don't break down properly. So I stopped taking them. Is that true?
Yes. Let me tell you, Lady ReShell. Okay, I have tried to take multivitamins for years. Remember, in medical school, as a resident, I'm not eating right. I feel tired. I'm like, I'm going to take a multivitamin. So I would go to the store and I would buy whatever looked like the best thing, right? And I didn't feel any better at all because it was passing the same way it went in. It was not getting absorbed. Okay. And I've gone through a few different brands, and I was just like, nothing's working. But when someone introduced me to ID Life,
Okay, she froze. Hold on, you guys. So she's talking about ID Life, which is, again, individually designed. She's going to go back out and come back in. Individually designed according to what you need in your body. So what I like about it is that, again, you're not just going to...
I can see. Can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Okay, great. Yeah. So I was saying the thing that's different about ID Life is that because the coating of it is vegetable based, it's actually broken down very easily in your system. It doesn't have the preservatives and things in it that cause it to not get broken down and absorbed in your system. And when I started taking it 5 years ago, I could tell the difference. And I don't know how many of us can say that we're still taking the same vitamins that we took 5 years ago because it worked. But this is the longest that I've ever taken it because I could tell a difference. It gives me the energy that I was lacking, busy life, wife, mom, physician, everything, and just on the go, and our body gets run down. And so I understand when you say you stop taking it because it wasn't doing much and they said it wasn't really getting absorbed. And that is absolutely true for those over-the-counter vitamins and supplements. And what is different again about ID Life is it also goes through third-party verification to make sure that what's in it is actually what we say is in it, so that you're getting the right quantities also at the right time. You mentioned AM and PM because some vitamins are better absorbed in the AM, just like some medications we tell you to take in the AM and some in the PM. Same thing goes for vitamins and supplements. So it was a great company for me to partner with and share with others. And like I said, it tells you why you need it, right? Based on evidence-based information.
And I, like, some of them I knew exactly what I needed, but just to see it confirmed, because I'm not doing the meat, so it gave me the omega 3 complex, and I'm sure I'm not probably getting my vitamin B, so that's on there as well. So just looking at all of them, I'm like, okay, I know that I need all these things. And so the one thing I looked at when I got done with it, it packages for you individually per day which ones you need. You got your morning and you have your night. So you just grab it, the little pack in the morning, so you know what you need to take. You're not getting confused or anything like that. So that part I do like, versus you getting like a pill bottle and you digging through all these different types of, bottles. Get confused. Did I take that pill? I don't know if I took it enough.
Right.
The pack is empty. You took that pack for the day.
That's right. Yep. I tear it off and go all the time. I tear off my AM or my PM packet, keep it in my purse. It's all together with my name on it, and I just take it. And I've been doing it for 5 years, and I love it. I love it. Along with some of the other things that they mentioned, like that I mentioned earlier, which is the sleep and the protein shakes.
Now, if I could get these all together, I think I would be in perfect health. I need to sleep. The sleep, I don't have a problem with exercise. Exercise is probably my easiest thing, and the eating is probably, those two are probably my easiest thing. But I know that I don't get the sleep. That part I know that I don't get, and it's just about being disciplined. Just being disciplined enough to say I'm going to go to sleep at this time, knowing that I have to get up at a certain time, and just shutting everything down and doing it because I know it's going to be beneficial for my health.
Yes. And the thing about, the thing about the sleep strips that ID Life has is, even when it'll be time I know I'm supposed to go to sleep now, and I'm not really ready to do it, I will take that sleep strip because I know in about 20 minutes, I'm going to be pretty drowsy and I'm going to be forced to go to sleep. And it works wonders, because without that, we can think of a million things that we need to do. One more thing, I need to read this, I need to do that, and before you know it'll be midnight or something, right? And so I like it for that reason. I wake up feeling refreshed and ready to go. It's been a lifesaver, especially during these last 4 months.
Okay, so, and then the other thing was, when I looked at the cost, I was like, oh. But then I thought about, this is your health. This it is an investment into your health. And you know that investing in it, you're going to have these long-term benefits. So that's how I looked at it. Like, it's going to be an investment into my health. And, you know, especially if you know you're not doing everything that you're supposed to do, or you're not getting everything that you're supposed to get from your food, and you know you're not exercising like you should, you're missing certain key things that you should have. And then is it possible for you to, if you are doing these things, that you take a reassessment and this eliminates because that's what you're supposed to do?
Yes, two things you mentioned. So you can the pack and the results that you get, you can also always be flexible with that. It may be that you want to try the vitamins that were most important for what you need, right? There was something there that it said, okay, you need to take B6 to help your immune system and your energy level, and that's something that you're really battling with. Maybe you just do that, right? And then you're absolutely right. The next thing is we usually recommend that you retake your assessment at the beginning of every season. So about every 3 months, right? So that gives you time. You've been on one thing, maybe things are better, maybe you're eating better, your lifestyle is different. Let's see what you need now, because in the winter, for sure, we probably even need vitamin D more, right? We're really not going outside now. Things are different depending on if you have allergies, and you say, I live in this climate, and we know that ragweed is high at this time of the year. We may now recommend that you take zinc or something for your allergies. And so, yes, retaking the assessment at least with every season to see what has changed is important, because yes, you may not need some of those things and your needs change.
Awesome. What's the website to where they can take the assessment and get some products?
Yeah, it's www.drmichelle, that's DRMICHELLE .idlife.com. And we can put it in the chat at the end. www.drmichelle.idlife.com.
And thank you so much, Dr. Michelle. Can you give anybody just some words of wisdom about the importance of boosting your immune system during stressful times?
Yes, absolutely. Listen, your immune system is in your hands, right? There are things that you can do to help stay healthy during this stressful time. Simple things to incorporate, right? We've talked about making small changes. We've talked about sleeping, but other things, right? If you smoke, quit. If you drink alcohol, drink in moderation. Meditate, laugh, talk to your friends, because our immune system is really important to us, and we think about it only when we need it, and not when we're feeling healthy. But it is something that on a daily basis helps to keep us alive and give us good quality of life. And so we just need to give it some focus, and part of that is some of the lifestyle changes that we can do.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate your wisdom that you share with us each month. So thank you so much, Dr. Michelle. So hopefully everybody will be taking this information and using it, putting it in a toolbox, and being proactive about their health. So thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Oh, you are so welcome. Always a pleasure to be on your show.
Awesome. I'm going to put you in the green room. Hold on. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to Warriors Talk. I'm going to leave you with these words of wisdom. He who has health has hope, and he who has hope has everything. So thank you for tuning in to Warriors Talk. Meet me next week at 6 p.m. right here on Intellectual Radio. And as always, Warriors Talk is changing lives, one warrior at a time. Thank you guys. See you next week.
Thank you for listening to this week's edition of Warriors Talk with Lady ReShell. To find out more about Warriors Talk, follow at Warriors Talk, the number 1, on all social media outlets, and Warriors Talk with Lady ReShell on YouTube. Please join us next week and every Monday evening at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time on intellectualradio.com for Warriors Talk with Lady ReShell, where we encourage, educate, and empower you into action.
Thank you.